Well, hello and good morning to our listeners from around the world. I want to welcome you to another edition of This Morning with Soulivity. We are broadcasting live from our studio right here in Washington, D.C., the capital for the USA, and on KMET 1490 AM radio in Southern California. My name is Brian Westley Johnson, and I'm so glad you're here. We have a very special show for you today. But I want to introduce one of my beautiful co-hosts and very special friends, Sheila Applegate. Hey, Sheila.
Good morning.
And for today, we have a very special and amazing guest co-host, Halina Goldstein. She is the co-founder of the Joy Keepers Network. Hey, Helene.
Hello.
Man, this is fantastic. How has both of your weeks been? I mean, Halina, you're all the way in Denmark. What's the weather like over there?
It's spring, and that's wonderful because we've been waiting for it. It's sunny, very windy, but sunny and beautiful. Butterflies coming out and small flowers.
I can only imagine. I can only imagine. Sheila, I hope it's as beautiful where you are as well.
It is. It's very much like Denmark, I think.
See?
Yeah, it's funny. We've been getting, it's that typical spring, right? Where it's been, sunny and kind of warm, and then it goes overcast and we have the rain.
Right.
But I've been as I've said before, I've been like doing some gardening and that kind of thing. And so I appreciate the rain is there because all my flowers and plants and stuff are like saying, thank you. Thank you.
I haven't seen a butterfly yet, though. So maybe
no, I haven't either. So, Halina,
I send them to you.
Oh, yeah, fantastic! Yes,
they can't cross oceans,
Listen. Before we begin, I just want to remind our audience that you are part of this conversation. We want your questions, your comments, your thoughts. Just post them here to our live feed on Facebook and YouTube, and we'll get you as part of this conversation. And if you're enjoying what we're talking about, feel free to share out our show to your friends and family, or give us a like that's there on social media. So thank you again for being here. Listen, everyone, I wanted to kind of set up our topic today by giving everyone some information that's really important for people to know about. And this is from an article in CNBC that talks about how, according to the Mind Over Money survey by Capital One and the Decision Lab, 77% of Americans report feeling anxious about their financial situation. Additionally, there were some other key findings that 58% felt feel their finances control their lives. More than half have difficulty controlling their money-related worries. And that Americans are most worried about their financial future, which includes not having enough money to retire, 68%, keeping up with the cost of living, which is 56%, and managing debt levels, which is a little under 50% at 45%. Now, these findings also show that there is some financial stress on people's psychological, mind, body, and spirit, and that more than 43% say that around these aspects of their life, they feel fatigued, or they find it difficult to concentrate at work at 42%, and have trouble sleeping, which is 40%. I mean, that's really bad.
Yes.
That a quarter of the respondents say financial stress even affects their relationships. So, I mean, again, this is an important topic. I think that a lot of times this is kind of like, well, we know this, but we don't talk about it, and we don't provide. There's no forum to give people how do you move out of this. So today we're going to be talking about exactly how we can make our finances a bit easier for people. So Halina, I know this is something near and dear to your heart. For you, why is it important for us to kind of recognize, maybe at first, that maybe we're having that stress about our finances?
Well, what comes to mind first is really, and it's a really enlightening article because it confirms it so much. But what I've noticed just, by living and speaking with people is that money is on our minds almost all the time, and
Yeah.
we're not conscious about it. And part
Mm,
of the time we talk about it, but we talk prices daily. We talk about work and money daily. We talk about things that relate to money daily, and it is in every area of our life this way, because we then bring it in our relationships and our work. It affects our health. So even if some may say money is not the most important part of your life, and what was the song?
mhm.
You can buy me love.
Can
That was the
buy
song.
me love.
it, it is, but it
Brian will
is,
sing any song you need.
Absolutely.
yeah, but it is a key area, right? That affects it. So imagine if we could, and I know we can, bring more peace and more ease and more joy into that area. That will then spread in all the other areas. It would
Mm.
literally change our world.
Wow. I love that. I love that. Sheila, what about you? I mean, here in America, that whole thing about money is like so prevalent.
Mhm.
What are you thinking about this?
So the first thing I'm thinking is that finances are equated to survival
Mhm.
in our society, because that's anything that has to do with finances, with money, even though that's just a piece of paper or a coin, right?
Uh-huh.
It represents survival. So in the past, maybe our threat was that we were going to get eaten by a giant animal, or we were going to starve to death because of the weather change.
Mhm.
But now all of those instinctual feelings of survival instincts are put into money and finances because
Yeah.
they cover everything. So I think that we don't recognize a lot of times how visceral our reaction can be to
Mm.
money and finances, because it's literally the fight or flight reaction. You talked
Mhm.
about, people get depressed and maybe sleep, or they're staying up at night. That's because their body is responding to this belief that without money, they will die. Right. So
Wow.
it goes deep into the core. And then the flip side of that is when, like Halina said, when we can identify that and bring that sense of ease into this, and really change that mind pattern so that we don't have that survival instinct all the time,
Mhm.
then it's going to affect every area of our life in a peaceful way that will actually, as we'll talk more, bring more financial security to you. And then that other piece is, you mentioned that um, something about like that people don't talk about it. But we talk about money, but there's a facade that finances and money represent success in our world.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
because of that, I think there is a stigma. People are presenting that they're doing better or they're more comfortable with money. I have been with millionaires who
Yeah.
are afraid that they're going to lose, like
Mhm.
it doesn't go
Mhm.
away because you have more money. It has to be
Absolutely.
addressed.
Mm.
That's
Absolutely.
my thought.
No, I love that. I mean, we're gonna be talking in the next segment about how we can change our relationship, or start talking about, how we can start changing that relationship. But I love this idea of, you know, our relationship, the reason why we're so anxious, or we're having these disturbing thoughts, or like we can't sleep at night. I mean, when you have 4 out of 10 people aren't sleeping at night because of their finances. Like, they're
Right.
like worried about what's going to happen. And all that's happening because we're defining ourselves materialistically, right? Again, it's all about the have, right? You got
Mhm.
to have this. If you don't have this, then that means you're not worthy. You're not worthy of love. You're not you're not worthy of validation. And that, you're not showing up. You're a slacker, right? All this self-talk, this negative self-talk that's there, that happens from the beginning. Helena, here, about, here in the United States, we're very capitalistic.
Yes, and
Um,
it's not only United States, by the way. It's really the Western world, right? So yes,
right.
I do know that. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
and that I can remember as a kid, I think I might have been 8 or 9, and my dad and my mom are taking me to the bank to
Mhm.
get a savings account, right?
Right.
Now, in
Mhm.
part that's cool because they're trying to teach us how to manage money, right? But the other side of that was, and I don't know about this, if the two of you, I felt horrible when my balance was like low, or like it, or that I had to take something out, and because I wanted to buy something, and it
Mm.
was like $1 or something like that,
Aw.
Mm, mm.
right? And that feeling was there, but no one ever taught me. I mean, my parents were great, but no one ever taught me that that's not who I am,
Mm.
right? What do you
Right.
think about that?
Well, when I think about, I do remember going to the bank. I think I might have been a teenager when my
Mhm.
parents, I think they did try to teach us money. I do remember we got a clothing allowance. My parents got sick of, like, deciding, fighting
Yeah.
over us
Oh,
what we
yeah.
could get.
Oh,
So we
yeah.
got a certain amount of money that they would have spent on clothing, and then we had to choose how to spend it. And I
Right.
I remember twice I bought, I guess I like shoes. I bought a pair of boots and I bought a pair of, sneaks that were a big portion of my season's money.
Mhm.
And my parents got nervous, but then they just relaxed and chilled. But that energy is in there, right? But then I felt guilty. Like, I still remember, those are the only 2 items I remember buying. I know exactly what they look like. I loved them,
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Listen, we're gonna take a quick break, but when we come back, we're gonna dive a little bit deeper into, what does it mean in terms of our relationship with money, and what are some of the things that maybe we can start doing to change that? Maybe each of us can kind of share some thoughts, around past experiences with it, with that, like, maybe disempowering a relationship. So, listen, everyone, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with more of This Morning with Soulivity, with our beautiful guest host, Halina Goldstein, as well as my wonderful, amazing co host, Sheila Applegate. We'll be right back, everybody.
Have you ever asked the question, if I was to be anything, what would I be? Regardless of money, regardless of status, beyond popularity and fame, living your passion, feeling your life has purpose. Soulivity is a space to nurture that which lives in all of us. A place where work can become play, and doing what we love creates the dreams of a lifetime.
And we're back with more of This Morning with Soulivity. We are talking about, can we make our finances easier? And as I said in the first segment, from this great article from CNBC, where 77% of Americans report feeling anxious about their financial situation. Um, there's a lot in that article in terms of not just what we worry about, but how it impacts us. And I think that, part of this is how we're defining our relationship with money. And so, Sheila, you kind of like started talking about this in the first segment. What are some of your additional thoughts about that?
Well, I think my relationship with money has been an ongoing, like, it is one of the partnerships that you are going to have your whole life, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Mm.
And it changes and it grows as we grow. It has been one of the more challenging relationships in my life, or areas of
Hmm.
surrender.
Yeah.
Having gone in, becoming an entrepreneur in my early 30s with two young children, on my
Yeah.
own, like, that was a lot of risk, and I went against everything that society told me to do. So there was constantly, and continues to be, times for me to surrender and to embrace abundance, and to watch that my thought patterns changed the flow of money towards me. And so I had to get very keen and good at paying attention and moving through any anxiety that came up.
Helena, do you think that our relationship with money is not just germane to that part of our lives, that it's part of a bigger um journey for us?
Oh, I definitely do. And it is money, like every relationship, because it is a relationship. And I'm so glad that you brought it forth, Sheila, because most people don't think about it that way. That's the way. They don't think of money as a relationship. They think of something outside them, that has its own life, kind of, and they have
Mhm.
we have to kind of deal with it. But not, we don't think of it as a relationship mostly. But I do believe and feel and see that it is a relationship, and it reflects, as you suggested and shared, it reflects our growth, and it is there to support our growth as humans and also as conscious beings. But we have a tendency, especially in our culture, to treat it as a thing, as a machine, as a
Right.
game,
Mhm.
and not as a living relationship. And that makes it very, very difficult.
Mm. Yeah, I was thinking about this, that like Sheila, you were talking about, starting your own business. And I think a lot of times we have this belief that, okay, we're going to start our own business and we're going to make all this money, and that I won't have to feel the way that I felt in the past about my money, right? Or my
Mhm.
finances. And I think the truth is that, as Helena, as you were saying, since this is a larger journey, that feeling is a part of us and has been a part of us since we were probably born and socialized into believing about this materialism, that even if we start a business, that follows us into us operating our business. And now you have more stress, right?
Yeah,
Did you have
absolutely.
more stress, Sheila, for a minute when you started your own business?
Oh, I let's see. When I first started, not so much. It was kind of a smooth entry in, because I was planning to be um like a mom as my primary role at that point. So I was adding to, right,
Mhm,
the
mhm,
finances that we had planned on in the early years. But then
mhm.
as that grew and changed, and I was reliant on that money, oh, yeah, it's been a stress, throughout the whole yeah, I mean, it still can be a stress. If my mindset falls into the survival mode, then, um, of course it's a stress, but then I know, I have evidence, I have experience, I have tools now that can help me infuse it with joy, and know that when I get stressed, it's not about trying to figure out how to get money, it's how to change my alignment.
Mm.
Mm. Helena, what can you share with us, maybe a point in your life where you were like, okay, I've got to change this. I can't keep operating this way.
Yeah, well, um, it has been something that has built over years, because I've always been someone that had a really a need for freedom in my life, and could create it in various ways, but not with money. So for many years, I felt that even if I was on a spiritual journey and personal growth journey, and I had so much insight and good experience, money didn't follow, and money felt like a struggle. So I tried various, modalities and manifesting and budgeting and everything in between, and it was always like more hope than reality. And then at some point, I reached like a point where I was like, I can't even explain it, but there was this feeling that something needs to happen, something radical. And as it often happens, at that point, I quote unquote accidentally came across a book that's called Busting Loose from the Money Game. And it was an answer to me, because I was starting having thoughts that were very different from how people mostly think about money. And this book kind of said, yes, this is, or the author said, this is how I see it too. And then I started working with it. And it was like a continuous work with the relationship to money, and like every time, and there are many times during the day where I saw there's a limitation here, there's a limitation here, there's limitation there, like applying the tools that I learned at that point. And after 3 years, I reached a point where I felt, now I'm free. And it has nothing to do with how much money I have or don't have, but I am being supported by life. I'm free.
Wow.
And I don't have to worry. And it's been pretty much like that since.
Wow.
But it's been many years of struggle and like trying to crack that nut, right?
Right. I mean, of course. I mean, this is for all of us, again, our parents, when we're growing up and they're teaching us, I mean, they want us to be okay. And part of that for them is what they learned was you got to like watch your money so hardly, and you got to make all of this. And not to say that money doesn't have a certain level of importance. We're talking about that it shouldn't be defining who you are, right? That your worthiness, and that how people see you, and more importantly, how you see yourself, isn't defined by your professional or economic success.
Exactly.
So listen, why don't we take another break, and when we come back, everyone, we're going to share a game-changing thing that you can do that can actually move you out of feeling so anxious about your finances into a feeling that you probably never felt before around it. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with more of This Morning with Soulivity.
Hey there, this is Brian with Soulivity.com. I want to share some exciting news about our new Aspire Academy by Soulivity. Now, you probably want to know what the Aspire Academy by Soulivity is. Well, it exclusively connects you with people around the globe and who share the intense desire to improve themselves and create a better life for themselves today. There's classes, there's workshops, there's live events, and even more exclusively just for you. You see, I wanted you to have a safe space where you could grow, you can learn, and it would empower you in all aspects of your life, including your mind, your body, and your soul. So how do you get started? Well, it is so easy. First of all, the best part, joining Aspire Academy is absolutely free. Just click on the Join Now button, sign up, and begin your journey. As a special part of this invitation to you, there are some free courses that are available for you to try from our amazing roster of coaches and collaborators. It's our way of saying thank you for all of your support and being with us along our journey of expansion. I hope you enjoyed the Aspire Academy by Soulivity today. Start the process. Learn more about your passion, your purpose, and how to live a higher quality life.
And we're back with more of This Morning with Soulivity. We are talking about our finances and how sometimes that can make us feel anxious. But we want to share with you maybe something that you have not thought about that is a game changer. And Halina, what is that one thing that you do and that you tell people to do when it comes to their finances?
Well, as you may guess, because everything with around my work has something to do with joy, it is joy. And and I wanted to share something with you because it was such a funny sentence that showed up in my mind just before we started, and it's kind of going to mess with our minds. But the sentence was this: there is a limit to fear. There is no limit to joy.
Oh, nice.
And this is the energy, and what we taught is to bring the energy of fear into money, and that limits it. But what if we turn it around and bring the energy of joy into money? And when I say bring joy into money, it's a huge area. We can share many ways of it, but it is not complicated. It's not a like complicated technique or something, because we all know joy. We all know the feeling of joy. So the simple and powerful thing, one simple powerful thing we can do is to consciously connect with joy when we deal with money, and not necessarily go with our habitual falling into fear, but keep coming back to joy when we deal with money. That's one thing that we can do.
And again, we'll give people some specific directives around how to do that in a moment. Lena, this is not, I just want to make sure that people understand this isn't like, oh well, I'm just gonna like fake, being happy about this or whatever, and hope that it really changes. This is something that you have practiced. It's something that I am learning to practice after you've told me about it. Sheila, I'm sure it's something that you're doing and that you have done, especially when it comes to your business, and that it truly works.
It absolutely does. And this is how shall I say it? It is something that allows us to change our relationship with money and allows us to find peace. And it is absolutely not a way of suppressing our fear, because it's important to meet any emotions we have. It's more like reminding ourselves that there is more to it, that there is more to us. Sheila mentioned in the very beginning so wisely that we have this deep connection between fear and survival mode and money. And one of the most powerful things we can do is start reminding ourselves that money is not what keeps me safe. What keeps me safe is something else. And how we define that may be individuals, but it has something to do with peace. It has something to do with joy. And some will say it is God that keeps me safe. Others will say universe. Others will say it's something in my heart. Others will say it's my family. But there is something that when we kind of step back and ponder it, we realize there is what really keeps me safe and alive is not money. It's something else. And for me, it's joy. But there are different ways of defining that. But if we can keep coming back to what is it truly? What is it truly?
Right.
And make that a practice. What is truly my safety? What is truly my peace? What is truly my joy? It's not money, but it can affect money.
Wow. Wow. Sheila, what I'm feeling is something that you've kind of practiced in your own business, and that is becoming conscious of what money really is. And for you, what is that?
Well, it's energy, like
Yeah.
Halina was just saying,
Yeah.
and remembering exactly what Halina just said, that it's not money that keeps me safe. And sometimes it's as simple as saying, the saying money doesn't grow on trees, and then reminding myself it exactly grows on trees. In fact, it's made of trees.
Right.
It's literally made of trees and rocks, right? And so it's abundant, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
And when I'm in that flow of joy, it comes, and it's so obvious when you don't have a paycheck, when your money is coming directly from your behavior and an instant response, you can see how quickly your change in attitude changes the flow of money. So in that way, I'm gifted with this great opportunity to notice that, because it taught me, like you alluded to, Brian, to run my business on joy. I have, trained in marketing, and I have learned all the strategies for businesses, and yet I always return. I have never been able to go outside of my center and do something that's not in alignment with me. But when I realized all I have to do is make choices based on joy, what brings me joy, and move forward. I don't need to know why or how the money's coming. But when I do that, the money just flows towards me.
Isn't
Um,
that funny how that happens?
right.
It's
It
just,
is.
yeah. I mean, it is. I really think that that whole thing is, no, we're literally shifting into, I keep saying this over and over again, we're shifting into what is the natural state of the universe, and that is an
Right.
abundant flow, right?
Yeah.
This abundant flow of everything, and that life is, my friend, hey Howard, my friend Howard Caesar, down in Houston, would always say life is meant to be good. That is
Mhm.
that's just a fundamental truth, and that when you shift into that, everything else shifts, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily overnight, but you'll see little things, and then large things, and then middle-sized things, and the next thing you know, you'll be like, why did I ever feel that way about money? Right?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Listen, we're gonna take another quick break. And when we come back, we're gonna dive down into, these tips, right? How do we actually fundamentally do that shift? What are the things that we can do on a daily basis or on a regular basis to help us be grounded in, you know, uh, adding joy and having some peace around our finances, but more importantly, our life. So we'll be right back really quickly with more of This Morning with Soulivity.
6 years ago, when I started Soulivity, my vision was to support everyone in improving their life through the discovery of their passion and purpose, so they could become the best version of themselves, to battle fear and ignorance, and create a better world today. Get inspired to live your passion and purpose. Visit Soulivity.com now.
Told you that was quick. We are back with more of This Morning with Soulivity, with my beautiful co-host today, Sheila Applegate, and our guest co-host, Halina Goldstein. And we're talking about making your finances easier. And so we wanted to kind of give you guys some tips on some how-tos about what does it mean to like add joy, so that you're living with your finances and quote unquote doing all the administrative things that you need to do. Make that easier, right? So you bring some feelings, some good feelings into that. So Helena, what's like one of the first things that you tell people around this concept of adding joy?
So since you mentioned this thing with administering and all aspects of money, one thing that I like to suggest is this. We were talking about money being a relationship, and we know that to have a good relationship with someone, we have to create some space for it, right? Like it's a good thing in a marriage to maybe meet once a week just to be with each other and not to do the daily things, right? So one thing that we can do is have for example, a weekly money date. And there to very consciously say, okay, I've created that space, whatever it is, maybe it's just half an hour or something, to have a positive relationship with my money. So start there. Then start with creating maybe a nice atmosphere, however we do that, that's individual, but something that feels joyful and positive and reassuring in itself. It doesn't come from money, it comes from us. Find that place in you that is joyful. And then start looking at your financing. How does the bank statement look? How much money is in my wallet? How do my credit cards look? Where have I sent my money and where have I received my money? But keep coming back to that initial feeling that this is not a judgment day, and this is not a day to say what's good and bad. This is a day to bring that good feeling into any aspect of money. And if we think of a relationship, what we really want there is unconditional love, unconditional joy, right? This is how we want to be met by others. This is how we want to meet others at the end of the day. To try to bring that feeling in, even if the balance doesn't look good, even if there is the numbers aren't what we expected. Try to bring a sense of love and appreciation into that once a week.
Wow, I love that. Sheila, what's a tip that you want to give?
It kind of springboards off of what Halina just said. I like to get excited when I pay my bills, right?
Wow.
So instead of like, oh, I'm using up all this money, the money's going, I focus on I'm so grateful I have the money to pay this bill. And I'm so grateful that I had heat this winter as I pay the, heat and electric bill. Or I'm so grateful for the food that we're going to eat, or the camaraderie we're going to have with this dinner I'm making if I'm in the grocery store, versus the giving away, draining from, or frustrated that we have to pay. So just shifting it around in those moments, it's a lot of what Halina is talking about, where we focus on what we're getting, not what we're giving.
Wow. I love that, because isn't that like grounding us in gratitude?
Exactly. Gratitude is key.
Wow. So just to make sure I understand these, because these two tips are kind of like really intertwined, right? So
Right.
create that that bill date, that finance date, or whatever, budget date with with yourself if you're living alone, or you invite your partner into it, and you bring joy into wherever you are financially, period. Don't go off and do the whole blame games and woes and all that. Just feel joy, and then as you're paying your bills, get excited, right? Have this feeling of gratitude and thankfulness, not only for the money that you're able to pay, but the services and products that you're receiving as you pay. Maybe even thank the company that you're paying as well, right?
Right. Instead of them being an adversary.
Right. Yeah, because I don't know of many people that look at like our utility companies and all that with a positive
right.
positive note.
Until the middle of a snowstorm, and then you're like, oh wow,
thank
I
God.
really appreciate when I have heat.
Yeah.
That's funny. Halina, what's another tip that you can give?
Since let's just kind of make a chain reaction here.
Okay.
So Sheila, you spoke about bringing appreciation when we spend money. then let's also look at the receiving money, but there's something tricky there, because most people say, oh, I want money. But underneath there, most people actually feel that they don't deserve it. Even people that have a lot of money have all kinds of problems with that, and not feeling worthy, and feeling that's too much or it's too little. So one wonderful thing that we can do is really start noticing that, or start appreciating the money that comes our way and the gifts that come our way. And it has nothing to do whether it's 1 penny or if it's $1 million or anything in between. It has something to do with money coming our way, and also gifts in other forms. It could be things, or opportunities.
Right.
Because so many times we say, oh, yes, give me more of that, but don't give me that, or this is not important, and on and on and on. But just make it like a statement: whatever comes to me in whatever form in that arena, let me receive it with gratitude, and let me know that it also comes from abundance. No one is getting poorer because they give money to me. That's important too.
They're getting
that is really, money is really coming, abundance is coming from abundance. So open to that receptivity, open to that. As we spoke about the experience we had as children. So almost like a child, like say, yes, please, I receive, I'm curious, I'm open. Can we find that innocence and just say, yes, I'm willing to receive.
So I love this. These are great tips. Just want to kind of preview what's going to be coming up in our next segment. You guys have a fantastic workshop that you're going to be doing on Saturday. We're going to be talking more about that in the next segment. That kind of gives even more tips around how you can infuse your finances with joy. But we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll talk more about this, maybe some final thoughts from both of you around this. And then we'll talk about this beautiful live workshop that you guys are going to be doing on Saturday. So we're going to take a quick break, everybody, and we'll be back with more of This Morning with Soulivity.
Have you ever asked the question, if I was to be anything, what would I be? Regardless of money, regardless of status, beyond popularity and fame, living your passion, feeling your life has purpose. Soulivity is a space to nurture that which lives in all of us. A place where work can become play, and doing what we love creates the dreams of a lifetime.
And we're back with more of This Morning with Soulivity. And we've been talking about, adding joy into our finances. One of the reasons why we're talking about this specifically is because, Halina, this is part of your life's work, right?
It is indeed.
Yeah. And we're so glad that you're doing this, because I don't think that there is enough talk or practice of keeping joy. I mean, I love the fact that you have this Joy Keepers Network. You also have written a book that relates to this. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure, thank you. So the book is called Joyful Economy: Realizations and Practices for Creating a Joyful and Fulfilling Relationship with Money, Finances, and Your Soul.
Right.
So the book connects it all, and it brings, it's a very practical, it's almost a workbook. So there is some philosophy there that is unconventional, but really makes a difference in our lives when we apply it. And there are some fundamental practices both some practices that are good to do in general every day or regularly, and some very specific practices around our relationship with money. So it's like a small book that you can have in one hand and read and open somewhere randomly and get inspired.
Well, we put the link to where you can buy it on Amazon in the chat. So please, everyone, go out and check that book out. Because I think, again, these are game changers. These are not things that we're putting out just because, there could just be, only just a feel good. These are feel good, life changing things that you can do to help improve your life.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
Sheila, you are actually doing a fantastic workshop with Halina that's coming up on Saturday, correct?
Yes, we're
Um,
very excited about
yeah, can you
Yes.
talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, we will be using a lot of the exercises from Helena's book, and we're going to really do a practical, hands-on workshop with you, where we work with you with some exercises to overcome your limiting beliefs and to embrace your own joyful relationship with money. And I'm going to do a meditation, a guided meditation, to help you infuse that into your relationship. And Halina, what else are we doing?
Well, you're also doing some mini coaching. I call it mini because
Yes,
time is
yes.
limited, but that's such an amazing opportunity to ask these difficult questions around money, and then you're there to respond to them. So we're doing some transformational work, and we're also teaching some things, and perhaps in a way the most important, well, it is all important, but what we were talking a lot about is that we really want to support everyone in taking the next step into infusing joy into their finances. So it's not just the sun effect. It's not just a good experience. It's a support to take that next step and see the next steps, so that our participants can really start transforming their relationship with money, and from their relationship with everything, really.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be so much fun. So I hope
Yeah,
everyone will join us.
yeah, I can't,
Absolutely. Yeah.
we just put the link where you can register. It's only $33. And that you can just go to aspire.soulivity.com. You can see the event that's right there. And, oh, and by the way, everyone who registers, you don't have to worry about whether or not you catch it live. It's going to be actually recorded. So even if you miss the live workshop, it'll still be available for you to register and watch and get all the goodness of that, of, what Halina and Sheila are talking about, in terms of infusing your finances with joy. So thank you both for doing that. I mean, this is so, 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 so important. Um, Additionally, Sheila, you've got a fantastic workshop or class that's happening today.
I do. I am
Wow.
today's master class teacher on the Spiritual Quest Masterclass series. And so I'm live today at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And I'm going to be talking about soul love and the new paradigm of partnership. So we're going to explore the different aspects of soul love, soulmate relationships, and how we can move our understanding of what partnership is to a more intimate level. And even in that one, I'll also be doing a meditation to help you connect on a soul level to those who you wish to have a deeper relationship with.
Wow. Wow. And that one's free.
That one is free, right? If you register right now, you will get it for free, and that you will have an ability to listen to it over the next 24 hours if you miss it live. And then after that, it does move into a membership platform, which is a very reasonable price as well. But go ahead and get it for free now. And then I think it's only like $7 a month to get this one and the other ones. on the platform too. So it's a brilliant opportunity.
Well, we've got about a minute left. Any final thoughts, Halina, on this idea of adding joy into our finances?
Well, I get silent because the perspective behind it is so huge, really.
Yeah.
Because when we open to joy, we open to a lot of more than that. We open to freedom. We open to abundance. We open to connection. We know all these things come together.
Right,
So
right.
imagine that flowing into our relationship with joy, and then imagine that spreading into our other relationships, or imagine a world where people start relating to money from that perspective of unconditional love and unconditional joy. What a world we will build from there. So there's a huge perspective that starts with very small and doable steps, and it just feels good to do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sheila, any final thoughts? 30 seconds.
Wow, I think that Halina hit it. I'm imagining that world beyond, really, we're talking a world beyond capitalism
Right.
when
Yeah.
joy is infused into finances and money. And
Oh, man.
imagine that world and start with yourself. One thing you can do for the world.
I love this show today. Oh my goodness. And, this is, again, this is what I really live for when we do these shows, like giving people some practical tips, but more importantly, helping them change their lives for the better. So thanks to both of you. And thanks to all of you for listening on this episode of This Morning with Soulivity. We hope that you'll come back and join us every weekday at 8 a.m. Eastern for our live broadcast, or listen to us Thursdays and Fridays at 9 a.m. Pacific on KMET 1498 for all the people on the West Coast. This is how we do it every single morning. Until next time, keep having real conversations with passion and purpose. And, create that life of high quality living today. That's what this is all about. So thanks again. Keep on having those real conversations, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
This work is subject to copyright owned by Affinity Global LLC. Any reproduction or republication of all or part of this is expressly prohibited unless Affinity Global LLC has explicitly granted its prior written consent. All other rights reserved.